Welcome to Future English Academy. On May 11th, 1998, India conducted a powerful nuclear test. The world was shocked. In that silent desert, India's voice roared across the world. India made history. Behind that moment stood one man. But this man wasn't born into power. He didn't wear medals as a child. He once sold newspapers to support his family. He studied under streetlights. He faced rejection and walked alone. This is not just the story of a scientist or a president. This is the story of Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, the missile man, the people's president, the boy who touched the sky. He was born on October 15th, 1931, in Rameswaram, a small coastal town in southern India. His father was a boat owner, and his mother was a kind and spiritual woman. The family had no luxury and no wealth, but they had strong values and a resilient spirit. He grew up quietly, helping his father, selling newspapers, and studying under streetlights. Yet he excelled in school and topped his classes. In the early 1950s, he studied physics at St. Joseph's College in Tiruchirappalli, a major city in southern India. But his heart was set on the skies. He dreamed of flying, building aircraft, and touching the clouds. In 1955, he gained admission to the Madras Institute of Technology, MIT, to study aeronautical engineering. However, the fees were far beyond what his family could afford. So his sister quietly sold her gold bangles to keep his dream alive. He never forgot that sacrifice. At MIT, his final project initially failed. His professor warned him, "Fix it in 3 days or leave." Kalam didn't sleep. He worked tirelessly without rest. On the third day, the professor simply said, "You've done it, Kalam." He didn't run from failure. He built strength through it. In 1958, he applied to the Indian Air Force. It was his dream to fly. But he was rejected and it broke him. He sat in silence by the banks of the Ganga in Rishikesh. A saint nearby told him, "Rejection is simply redirection." And Kalam stood up again. After the Air Force rejection in 1958, he joined Defense Research and Development Organization, where he worked on military technologies. But his dreams were still waiting for wings. In 1969, recognizing his deep passion for rocketry, the government transferred him to ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization. It was there that his dreams of space would finally take flight. At that time, there were no labs, no computers, and no big buildings. Rocket parts were carried on bicycles. Satellites were launched from church buildings. But Kalam never gave up. He just worked. In 1979, India was ready to launch its first satellite launch vehicle, SLV-3. Dr. Kalam was the mission director. The nation watched. But something went wrong. The rocket failed and fell into the Bay of Bengal. It was a public failure, and the media surrounded them. But that day, Dr. Satish Dhawan, the chairman of ISRO, stepped forward and said, "We failed, but I trust my team. We will succeed next time." He didn't blame Kalam. He protected him. A year later, in 1980, SLV-3 lifted off successfully, placing the Rohini satellite into orbit. It was a milestone in India's space journey. A dream finally touched the sky. And this time, Dr. Dhawan stepped back and asked Kalam to face the press. That moment taught Kalam the true meaning of leadership. In the 1980s and 1990s, he worked on India's defense projects, Agni, Prithvi, Trishul, and Akash. He gave India strength and confidence. Then, in 1998, he led the Pokhran nuclear tests, a mission planned with care and complete silence. The work was done at night. Every step was kept secret because the world could not know until the moment of success. And on May 11th, 1998, India conducted a successful nuclear test. The world was surprised. India had proven its strength not with words, but with science and silence. But even then, Kalam stayed humble. He simply moved on to the next mission. After the Pokhran nuclear test in 1998, Kalam became a national hero. But instead of celebrating, he turned to the future. He became the principal scientific advisor to the government of India. But his real mission was not in offices. It was in classrooms. He traveled across the country, met thousands of students, and told them, "You are the future. You are the strength. Dream big." In 1999, he wrote India 2020, a powerful vision to make India a developed nation. He spoke not just of rockets and technology, but of values, of education, and of building a nation from the ground up. In 2002, India made him the 11th President of the Republic, not because of politics, but because of love. He met students more than ministers, answered letters from children, and spoke of dreams to every heart that listened, because he believed that the true power of a nation lived in its young minds. He once said, "Dream is not what you see in sleep. It is something that doesn't let you sleep." On July 27th, 2015, he was giving a lecture at IIM Shillong. He smiled, spoke of science and service. Then suddenly, he paused, placed a hand on his heart, and collapsed. His last breath was spent teaching. Even in death, he inspired. He had no wealth and no luxury. He never married. Only books and a heart full of dreams. He once said, "I am not a handsome guy, but I can give my hand to someone who needs help, because beauty is in the heart." But when he left, the entire nation cried, because they didn't lose a scientist. They lost a teacher, a guide, a father. He was, and will forever remain, Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, India's humble son, the people's president, the missile man. Friends, today we live in 2026. Many years ago, Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam dreamed of a developed India by the year 2020. He believed that science, education, hard work, and strong values could transform our nation. But let me ask you something. Have we fully achieved that dream? Yes. India has made incredible progress. We have become a global force in technology. We have sent missions to the moon and Mars. Our economy has grown. Millions have escaped poverty. Indian talent is respected around the world. Yet, many challenges remain. Even today, some children struggle to get quality education. Many families still face poverty. Corruption has not completely disappeared. Pollution affects our cities and villages. Unemployment remains a concern for many young people. So perhaps the real question is not whether Dr. Kalam's dream was completed in 2020. Perhaps the question is whether we are still working toward it. Dr. Kalam never said that one man would build a developed India. He believed that millions of ordinary people could do extraordinary things when they worked together. He believed that a teacher could change a classroom, a student could change a community, a scientist could change a nation, and a dream could change the future. Today, in 2026, the responsibility no longer belongs to Dr. Kalam. It belongs to us. Every time we learn something new, every time we help someone, every time we choose honesty over shortcuts, every time we work hard instead of giving up, we move one step closer to the India he imagined. Remember, Dr. Kalam did not come from wealth. He did not come from power. He did not come from privilege. He came from a small town, a humble family, and a life filled with challenges. Yet he rose to become a scientist, a leader, a president, and an inspiration to billions. His life proves that your beginning does not decide your future. Your dreams do. So before you leave, Ask yourself one question: what dream am I working toward today? Because somewhere above us, the missile man's words still echo through time. Dream, dream, dream. Dreams transform into thoughts, and thoughts result in action. Thank you for watching.